Hi guys, it's Jess with Terra Angel Intuitive. I want to welcome you here today to my message. For those that have been following me, I do know that it's been probably a couple months since my last video. I am sorry about the gap in the time, but it was something that I was spiritually led to do to kind of regroup and pull back a lot of my energy and make sure that I am doing the work that I needed to do. But here I am, I'm back. And I want to go ahead and hop right into a message that I have been receiving today. It's definitely one of hesitancy is the energy that I'm getting. I've kind of sat down and reflected quietly, and I was able to pick up on a few things and images that were coming through. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with that. We'll pull some cards and then we'll kind of go from there. If there is a follow-up video with a therapeutic skill that I can kind of give you information on, then that will follow this particular reading. Some people don't necessarily ascribe to both the spiritual side of things. They just want to do more of the self-help things, which is perfectly fine too. Everybody's at a different point within their own self-growth. So some of the messages that I was picking up, the first thing that I saw was actually an image of a face. It looked to be kind of a young person's face, maybe mid-20s. And that face was actually, it had a blindfold on it, so the eyes were closed, and it also had like the mouth was closed. So all you could really see is just the bridge of the nose for this particular face. And kind of in sitting with it, I wrote down the term blindfolded and gagged, but gagged was not really the appropriate word for what the image was. It's almost more of a vision or whenever it's extremely cold outside, you're kind of covering your mouth to protect yourself from the elements, to protect things from harming your skin and harming your face. And so that was more of the image that I was getting. And in sitting with that, I got a lot of imagery and a lot of information about snow, about mountains. There is a small village, and the name of this town village is escaping me at the moment. But there is one in Alaska that used to be a former military base. Now it's basically one building that houses the entire town. And the access to that particular place, it shares a tunnel with the train. So you can't just go any certain time of the day. You have to time it right, depending on the weather, the train, in order to gain access to the people that are within that one town. And sitting with that particular energy, it's to me, it's really highlighting the importance of having your own sanctuary, having your own either group of people or set of beliefs or values that are important to you, that make up your character, that are the core of who you are, and setting up boundaries so that people don't have instant access to you all the time. And in today's society, especially with social media, especially with the internet and with technology, we pretty much have instant access to somebody else all the time. And that can be quite draining. That can also lead to a lack of boundaries, a lack of respect for somebody else's time or energy or space, or we feel like we have an obligation to be accessible to people anytime, anywhere, no matter what. And it's important for whoever I'm speaking to that you understand the necessity of boundaries, that sometimes they are extremely necessary for your own growth and for your path in life, to make sure that you are taking care of what you need to do. I know beforehand I had done a video about self-care and how extremely important self-care is at any point in your life. And so if this particular message kind of resonates with you, you may want to go back and check out that portion or that message as well too, especially since I'm being told to kind of talk about that particular message. Another image that I also basically received is that I'm seeing a picture of, again, this person that is covered, their face, their eyes, and I see a picture of them in my eye. I'm seeing them walking in snow, and there's nothing around. It's just the woods and snow, and I'm seeing it from a perspective of actually walking as that person. So I can feel the discomfort of the cold. I can feel within my body, I can hear each step that I'm taking, the crunch of the snow and the noise of that, and being focused on that. And in this image, I'm also basically being shown that there needs to be perspective change from being this person experiencing the snow to almost as if you are, I don't know if it's an eagle, a drone, something where it basically takes the perspective from the view of the person on the ground experiencing it up higher into the sky, where you can see the surrounding area. And the message I was giving is basically that this is going to allow you to enjoy the beauty of the experience, even though there are parts of discomfort, right? Your body may be in parts of discomfort. You may be worried about being cold, or worried about being hungry, or worried about where you're going to stay for the night. You know, a lot of these things that we need for basic survival. And the shift in perspective is, instead of focusing, or hyper-focusing is the word that I was given, instead of hyper-focusing on that, you are encouraged to rather look at it to see the beauty of it, instead of focusing on the noise. And we get so lost in the noise of today's society. Most people are so uncomfortable in silence. And that is where we hear, and where we can reflect, and where we can really go within ourselves without talking, without seeing, without being distracted by the outside things. We can use our other senses when we are so inundated with the noise of the world that we lose who we are, and that we don't know who we are. Therefore, we have other people kind of tell us who we are, what we're supposed to do, what we're supposed to like, what the standards are, instead of really sitting within yourself and reflecting on what your values are, and allowing you also to examine who has access to you, and if they are really there, and if they really respect your own values, or if they are there for other reasons. And so that is kind of the the images that I received, you know, as I kind of sat with the energy before the video. So I'm gonna kind of pull a card or two depending on what, you know, what deck spirit leads me to use, and then we will kind of go with whatever else needs to be said for whoever I'm checking in with. Okay. And I do appreciate the patience. Like I said, in between time periods, I have not forgotten about posting videos. I just have to go where Spirit leads me called to, and with the energy, and there's been a lot that's been going on in my area, in my life, on this part of the journey, and I just had to kind of sit with it and sort through it. Pretty much kind of the same thing that I feel some of you guys are going through as well. All right, Spirit, what else do we need to know in addition to this message? Okay, I have 2 fall out. Okay, so for those of you that have not been here before, I do read tarot a little bit differently. I don't necessarily go with the traditional meanings all the time of the tarot cards. I do read the energy and kind of the message that Spirit leads me, and that's not always traditional. There are many other great traditional tarot readers out there. If that's what you're looking for, then, you know, I encourage you to check some of them out too. Okay, so I've got the King of Pentacles and I have the 4 of Cups. And, oops. And in sitting with these images, you know, the King of Pentacles here, it's kind of, the green and the purple are really standing out to me. And I think that's really interesting because if you look, I've got the green and the purple that I decided to wear today. So it's interesting how the synchronicities of everything line up, but kind of operating from a place of, you know, confidence and love, and, you know, with that violet, that purple color, really tuning into that, your third eye chakra, the intuition, that you trust on. Even when you're blindfolded, if you are really in tune to Spirit, you trust on that intuition to guide you. And also leading yourself with the green, to me that usually represents that heart chakra, that heart space. And so operating on a place of your morals and your values, or kind of going through the world, gaining your abundance by tuning in to the heart space and your intuition, which really does correlate to that image of turning inwards and speaking less, not worrying about the noise of the outside world, and really reflecting on your morals and your values, and creating your own safe space by using those as guides and implementing boundaries. And abundance, most people, and especially, you know, whenever we look here in the image, you know, he's got the golden coin. But to me, with the yellow, it's a divinity. It's an identity. It's a confidence that you are solid in your spirituality and your connection with yourself and with Spirit. I'm connecting to somebody that has done some of the work that they need to. That is not completely lost, but you may be feeling very isolated and exposed. And that image of being lost in the wilderness, going through the snow by yourself. And in the first perspective, down on the ground, you may only see trees in front of you. But if we change up and go higher, as we've been kind of instructed to do, you may not see from that firsthand ground perspective that, half a mile on the other side of the tree line, you are able to find this civilization, this particular village, the tunnel that goes to this village. There may be something for you on that other side that you're not able to see right now. And you are so focused on trudging through and feeling super lost and isolated that you're not able to enjoy the journey for what it is. When I was doing all my therapy, people were usually there because they weren't at the best times of their lives. And I had to kind of explain to them the transition period. And it's not the beginning of a goal or meeting the end of the goal that is really important. It is what you learn in the in-betweens of the goal setting, or the in-betweens of starting one phase of your life to another, because you learn so much during that transition time. And it's uncomfortable because you don't know what's going on. You feel like you've outgrown this part, but you're not quite ready for this part. And that is where we learn so many spiritual lessons. That is where we really learn who is supporting you, or what values that you may have carried up until that point, are they still valid? Do they still hold importance in your life? And it gives you an opportunity to kind of shift and move things in a different direction, to lay a new foundation. I'm being shown an image of a building, and this building catches fire and it burns all the way down, and you have the foundation there. And there are places within this foundation that have some cracks and damage from the heat, from the fire that happened to it. They are exposed. You can see them. You know what's there. You know where there is damage. If you see that there is damage there, and you decide that you're going to rebuild on the house, the transition period is what allows you to really determine, and it gives you an opportunity to see your foundation. So you get to decide, hey, I see that there's cracks here, I see there's damage here. Are you going to take the time, even if it may delay building the building or you being able to live in it, are you going to take the time to repair it, or are you just going to build on top of it and take your chances, knowing that 10, 15, 20 years down the road, or if there's another natural disaster, anything could happen. If something else happens unexpectedly, that you are taking your chances, that you have some kind of weakness within that foundation. You get to decide how you're doing it. And those are the transition periods, because they allow you an opportunity to really glance at or see your foundation in between stages, and to reevaluate what may need to change, what adjustments you might need to make going forward that's going to set you up for success or failure, depending on some of the choices that you make. And so this king of Pentacles. It's kind of showing me that there's an awareness to what's going on. And he's got a star around his head with the circle. And I'm being kind of, you know, the stars and the moon and intuition and allowing yourself to see things not only in the light, but also seeing things in the dark. Having that full perspective about what holds value. Where do you feel abundant in your life? Where do you feel like there is lack? And if there's a lack, then maybe you need to reevaluate part of your mindset. It's that perspective shift. Are you operating in a lack mindset, which is causing you to feel isolated? That's a whole different video for another time and topic, because I don't think that's necessarily at the forefront of the message for this video. So the second card that we had is that, you know, that Four of Cups. And I find it interesting how, again, we are set in this, we've got the woods, we've got the mountains, we have this water that is flowing, and that fourth cup is right up here, you know, feeling isolated from the rest of the world and what's going on. And is that what's going on? Or have you had to isolate yourself from the support system that you are so used to? Are you so far removed and so afraid of reintegrating back that you are now stopping yourself from having those experiences? Have you kind of created this imprisonment for you? And I am talking and picking up on different energies and people within this video, and I can't answer that for you. You know, these are just questions that I think it's important for you to really think about. Look at your situation, reevaluate, not from a place of blaming or finger pointing or kind of a pity party, woe is me, or don't bring the emotions into it, is some of the guidance that I'm being told to share. You know, take the emotions out of it. Emotions are great. Feelings are, they have a purpose. But the purpose is more of a, just like when you're ill and you have a symptom of it. That's similar to how feelings are within your emotional state. They help kind of identify an area that may need some work. And making yourself feel guilty or making yourself feel ashamed or making yourself feel upset or angry, all it does is kind of convolutes and gets in the way of identifying really what the core of the problem is. We're all human. We all have these. We all are kind of told who we are and what we're supposed to be, and we are shaped as children by our experiences, by our culture, by where we grow up, by life. And this is a transition period for you to be able to really pull back and see, are there cracks in your foundation? Are there places that just don't align with you and your belief system anymore? Are there people there that are trying to tell you who you are, not supportive in the direction that you're going? And really looking at it from a different point of view, and you taking the time to reflect. Don't say anything. Trust in your intuition. Read the energy of the room. Whoever I'm picking up on is really great at reading energy. And here is kind of where the guidance is. If you are able to cut out the noise, there's so much noise. I'm going to encourage you, and it's not a bad practice for anybody, just to take 10 minutes a day even and sit in silence. I guarantee it's harder than you think. No TV, no distractions. I love to sit on my front porch and I just sit there. I stare at the birds and the trees and the squirrels and the cars that go by, and I sit there. And whatever thoughts kind of come through I acknowledge them and kind of let them pass, but by practicing that, I'm able to ground and center, and I'm able to really enjoy the work and the progress that I have done, on my own personal journey here. And it gives me the time to think about some situations, and it gives me an opportunity to maybe put myself in somebody else's shoes, or to really reflect and see if, a person that's kind of being pushy, or a person that really is demanding of my time or my energy, it allows me an opportunity away from the situation to sit back and take inventory. And I'm going to encourage you to really take the time to reflect and observe the world from a non-emotional place, kind of that outside observer, and really see if you are able to recognize a place that there might be a crack in your foundation, or your values, or a point that is or could be an issue for you in this next stage of your life. Is it some of your habits? Are you eating in an unhealthy way, and that makes you feel bad, and that's affecting your health? Are you engaging in activities that are not good for you? Are you drinking too much? Are you getting involved in risky behavior, or are you getting involved in people that don't align with your core values? Again, I'm not judging. It's just a matter of you really, again, taking inventory of where you want to go, where you feel like you're being led, and learning to listen to your heart and listen to the intuition that is coming to you. And also being able to really enjoy the transition. It all passes by way too quickly. And those are where you can have the most exponential growth along your journey. And those are the lessons that you carry with you. Those are the lessons and the places where you find challenges in what you're doing in life. And it might suck while it's happening. It's not always going to be enjoyable, but it's about that shift in perspective, and to be grateful for the experience. As much as you may not like it in the moment, I know I am a mom, and I know that in the moment of delivering my son, no, I did not like what was happening. I didn't like the experience of my body in the physical moment that he was being born. However, it was necessary in order for the transition, in order for me to become, a mother to be a mother. There was that experience, and having to really be grateful for having the experience, and kind of the personal challenges that I faced in experiencing that. And I'm grateful for it. Would I want to do it tomorrow? No, I wouldn't, but that's just me being honest. It doesn't mean I'm not thankful for it, and I'm not fond of the adventure that I went through. And that's how a lot of experiences are within my life. And the way that spirit works, sometimes we are given lesson after lesson after lesson that's the same one, and we just don't grow from it because we don't want to be uncomfortable, because we're used to the familiarity. And even if it is chaotic and uncomfortable and it brings us heartache, we get used to repeating that same pattern. So therefore, you have the same traumatic relationship. You meet somebody else and you have the same traumatic relationship, and you meet somebody else and it's the same thing, because you never did the lesson, or you never learned what Spirit's been trying to teach you in the meantime. And again, I can't tell you what that lesson is. You have to go within, and you have to go to Spirit to be able to figure that out, because we're all here for different reasons. So I do think that's all that we have today. I don't necessarily feel led at this particular point to have a follow-up. This is more of a message of continued encouragement, but maybe to help you shift your perspective in at a point in your journey where you feel like you are just stuck or lost or isolated, or you just need some type of guidance in what's going on. But if any of this resonated for you, please hit that like button. I'd love to have you subscribe. All the good stuff that we do on this channel, and I definitely will be back more regularly than I was before. I just have to go with where Spirit is leading me to on my journey. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys next time.